Okay, let's dive into a famous legal case that all comes down to a flick knife, a price tag, and something as simple as a shop window display. Now, it sounds pretty straightforward, right? But believe me, this one case pretty much wrote the rule book for how we all buy and sell things, even today. Here's a question for you. Can a price tag get you arrested? It sounds absurd, doesn't it? But what if I told you that a simple price tag could actually land a shopkeeper in court, facing criminal charges? Well, that is the exact bizarre situation at the very heart of this story. So picture this. We're in Bristol, England. The year is 1959. There's a shopkeeper, a guy named James Bell, and he's just arranging his window display. He puts a flick knife in the window, and right behind it, he places a little ticket that says ejector knife 4S. That's 4 shillings. A totally normal, everyday thing for a shopkeeper to do. Or so he thought. All right, so how on earth did this completely ordinary window display catch the eye of the police and snowball into a landmark legal battle? Well, a police constable is walking his beat, and he spots the knife. He immediately thinks Mr. Bell is breaking a brand new law, the Restriction of Offensive Weapons Act. So just like that, he charges the shopkeeper. And suddenly, that little knife in the window becomes the star of a criminal prosecution. And this is the phrase that the entire case hangs on. The law made it illegal to offer for sale an offensive weapon. Now that seems pretty clear, doesn't it? The knife is right there in the window with a price. That's an offer, case closed. But, in the world of contract law, it is never that simple. And that brings us to the core legal puzzle here. Was that knife in the window a formal, legally binding offer, or was it something else entirely? To figure that out, we've got to get our heads around 2 really important legal ideas. First up, we have an offer. Now, think of this as the final step. It's a very clear, I will sell you this exact car for $10,000 right now. The second the other person says, I accept, boom, you've got a legally binding contract. It's a definite promise, all set and ready to be accepted. But then you have this other thing, an invitation to treat. This is not a final offer. It's more like a shop saying, hey, I've got some cool stuff for sale. Why don't you come inside and make me an offer? See the difference? It's just an opening for negotiation, not the end of it. It's an invitation to start talking business. So let's just break that down a bit. On one side, you've got the offer, which is basically a straight shot to a done deal once it's accepted. But on the other side, the invitation to treat is just the beginning of the conversation. The power actually shifts. It means the customer is the one who makes the real offer, and the shopkeeper gets to be the one to say yes or no. Okay, so with those 2 definitions in our back pocket, how did the court actually rule? Was James Bell's flick knife a criminal offer for sale, or was it just an innocent invitation to treat? The court's logic was actually pretty brilliant in its simplicity. They said, look, a window display isn't a formal offer. It's just an invitation. It's the customer who makes the real offer when they bring the item to the counter to pay. The shopkeeper can then choose to accept that offer or reject it. So, if you follow that logic, Mr. Bell had never technically offered the knife for sale in the first place. And so, the final verdict? Not guilty. James Bell walked free. He hadn't broken the law because, according to centuries of contract law, he hadn't actually made an offer for sale. He had just invited people to come in and make one to him. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, okay, that's a clever little legal loophole that got a guy off the hook back in the 50s. Why should I care? Well, here's the thing. The principle from Fisher v. Bell is literally the foundation of how almost all shopping works, even for us today. Seriously, think about it. When you see a can of soup on a supermarket shelf, that's not an offer. It's an invitation to treat. An ad you see in a magazine, a product listed on an auction site, even that add to cart button you click online, all of these are legally just invitations for you, the customer, to make an offer to buy. And here's the bottom line, why this is so important. This distinction gives sellers a ton of flexibility. If a store accidentally puts the wrong price tag on a TV, say $10 instead of $1,000, they are not legally forced to sell it to you for $10. A contract is only formed at the very last moment, when they take your money and accept your offer. So it all leaves us with this one fascinating final thought. Thanks to a shopkeeper and a flick knife in a window more than 60 years ago, we now know that when you click that place your order button, you're not accepting an offer. You, my friend, are the one making it, and it's the giant company on the other end that gets the final say. Kind of changes how you see online shopping, doesn't it?